I awoke with a flash of light and a voice trying to calm me. It was of an elderly man who was sitting across from the stretcher I lay upon. He said that I was found with a gunshot wound to my head inside a shallow grave. He explained that he saved my life and he wanted to make sure I was alright physically as well as mentally. We started with word association. The first word was dog, and I said feed. The next was house. I said shelter. He said night. I said sleep. But when he said the next word, I felt a strange feeling like I had no control of what I said next. The word was bandit, and I responded with stab. I was in a daze until he said the next word, which was light. I answered freely this time, saying inspiration. The feeling then came over me again, when he said mother. I once again lost my ability to freely speak, and I said uncontrollably, human shield. The doctor looked at me perplexed on why my personality changed randomly, but carried on with the inkblot tests. All was normal until he showed me an inkblot that looked like a shadow in a door frame, but the feeling returned and I answered with the phrase, an oozing wound. After the tests, the doctor was unsure if he should allow me to leave. Again, the unknown feeling arose as I grabbed the doctor and threatened his life. With fear in his eyes, he gave me back my belongings he found in my grave, and let me leave. I began to wonder if these uncontrolled outbursts were effects from my surgery. I couldn't bring myself to go back to the doctor who I'd just threatened. After I exited the house, I looked around the town to see where I should go next. The town's bar looked like a good place to start, so I walked towards it. When I reached the door, an angry man stormed out, and when I asked him what was wrong, he simply told me to fuck off. He walked off to a nearby house as I lost control again. I began to walk towards the house with a baseball bat the docs gave me earlier in my hands. When I reached the house, the bat I held was swung, breaking one of the man's windows. What was he gonna do? I thought, scared. The angry man opened the door and began to curse me out, but was stopped by my bat lashing out and hitting him once in the head with a crack. He hit the floor twitching as blood exited his head wound. What did I do? Why can't I control this? I began to swing the bat again and again at its head until he stopped moving. I was then granted back control of my body. I panicked and hid the body inside his own house. When I left, I was shaking, scared of my own actions, and of what would happen if someone discovered my crime. I walked to the bar to forget about that man that I'd just killed in cold blood. As I entered, I was greeted by the bartender, who said that I must have been the man Dr. Mitchell saved. The smile she had disappeared when she asked why the doctor was afraid after I exited his house. I lied, saying I had no idea and asked her for a beer. She turned around and began to grab a beer, when that horrible feeling returned. Again, my hand was about to grab my bat, when a voice of a nearby man asked me what I was doing. I said I was merely looking for my money as I pulled out the caps to buy the beer and paid the bartender. I still wasn't in control. It was like I was watching a movie where I knew something was going to go horribly wrong. I left soon after and went to Chet's store again. When he greeted me, I was forced to laugh in an awful way by the evil presence inside me. Chet seemed nervous now and questioned if I was okay. I then reached for the bat again. After he hit the ground, I just kept swinging at his head. This feeling was gaining more control, and I couldn't stop it. After 12 swings, Chet's head was smashed beyond recognition. Then I began to loot for weapons uncontrollably, which included one pistol, a hand grenade, and a large knife. God knows what I would be forced to witness with these items do. First, I was brought to the doctor's house, where I managed to pick the lock and enter silently. As I entered the bedroom, the doctor laid asleep, motionless. The only remaining hope I had was that he wouldn't feel the pain of what was to come next. The feeling crushed the hope when he made me wake the doctor. With the remaining bit of control I had left, I softly said, "I'm sorry," as the knife slashed his throat. His eyes looked at me with the overtone of betrayal. The man saved my life, and I ended his. I was brought back to the bar, which was now full with the townspeople. My hand was then forced to grab the hand grenade and pull the pin. I then watched as it was chucked in the middle of the room as I exited quietly. I could hear screams, and then they were followed by an immediate explosion. With all my might, I tried to grab the pistol, to shoot myself, to end this demonic presence's spree, but nothing happened. The feeling was in total control. The player paused the game and saved before he would shoot more of the video game characters for his evil playthrough of Fallout New Vegas. He had never had the character that he played as speak before, let alone protest his actions. He just figured it was a new feature and continued to play without giving it another thought. Thank you for sticking around to the end. If you enjoyed today's story, don't forget to leave a like. And if you want to hear more stories like it, don't forget to subscribe and click that bell icon. That way you'll never miss a story. Oh, and if you haven't already, don't forget to follow me on Twitter so you can keep up with the latest goings on the channel.